All right, so let's kick it off by looking at, of course, sensor first, because anytime we're looking at cameras, we have to consider the sensors. Now, there are two types of sensors, chiefly, that are being used inside of cameras. There's CMOS and there's CCD. You don't need to know what they are, you just need to know what the characteristics are. CMOS started off as the super cheap way to get images.
Right. Isn't it the most common?
It is the most common because it is the cheapest to make and it's the cheapest to mass produce.
Right.
CCD, which is charge coupled device, is an incredibly sensitive sensor, but it's also expensive to make.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so what we have is a CCD is more expensive, but it also is much better in low light. Super better in low light. I mean, anytime you have a camera that does well in low light, it is almost invariably going to be CCD.
Okay.
CMOS will give you a less expensive camera, and actually some of the newer CMOS technologies can get pretty dang close to CCD. So no longer can you across the board say that a CCD camera will be better than a CMOS because it's now the sensors are kind of the same. You may lose some of the low light performance, but outdoors, a good CCD camera can perform just as good as a good CMOS camera.
Okay, that's good to know. And isn't it with CMOS, when it's taking a picture, it does it like line by line. So if you shake the camera really quickly, you get the cuts
you get
in
the rolling shutter.
Yeah,
you get
the rolling shutter.
toward screen. And again, that's because when a charge coupled device is taking the picture, it's taking the whole picture. It's just boom, it's taking the image. Whereas a CMOS, it's like scanning. It's almost like actually it is exactly like one of those digital document scanners.
Exactly. Okay.
So if you put a lot of motion on a CMOS camera, you will get a little bit of that motion rip.
Well, and that's what we get on the quadcopters from the motor vibration. Is you get that oscillating video because of that.
Which, the jello effect. Nobody likes that. You could clear that up with a CCD camera, but no one wants to put a CCD camera on a quadcopter because that would be a really good way to break a couple $1,000s.
No. I think I'll keep it cheaper, especially with my flying skills.
Right. All right, so let's back up. As we said, there are a few things you need to consider. The first thing you want to consider is money. Let's not beat around the bush. If you have a decent amount of money, you can get decent gear. If you don't have a decent amount of money, the last thing you want to do is to buy something super cheap that you'll have to rebuy in a couple of weeks or months because it just doesn't work for you anymore.
Okay. I'm going to say if you're getting into podcasting, you're somewhere in between. Probably on the lower end, though.
Yeah. Probably on the lower end. So we're going to assume that the low end is like $300 to $500. We're going to assume that the mid-range is, let's say you're going to have about $1,000, and then up above that, $2,000 to $4,000. So you're going to choose where you're going to be. If you are in the low range, you are absolutely going to be looking at a CMOS camera. You will not be able to get a decent CCD camera. There are a couple that run down near that price range, but the problem is the way they get it down to that price range is they remove all the other features that you might want.
Right.
Yeah.